So now that the Monte's engine bay is all done, underneath is done, the fluids have all been changed, basically all the major tune-up components have been addressed, I want to take some time kind of freshening up the exterior. It's got a lot of scratches in the paint. This was a repaint that was done in the 70s at some point, but it's got a lot of scratches, a lot of like surface rust, a lot of like things like that. So in my opinion, there's a couple things I could do to really just kind of freshen up the exterior. Probably the biggest exterior issue is right here. These cars had like a urethane part, a bumper filler they call it. What happens is those urethane parts dry out. And when I was washing the car, like literally as I touched the part, it just crumbled. Like here's what's left of it. You can see this kind of, I think was, mounted under here like that somehow. But it is, you can see the piece that chipped off when it fell. It is super brittle. I mean, it is bizarre how brittle it is. Super hard to find. And if you find it, it's going to be nearly 50 years old and probably really brittle. So what are my options? So I found a company called Replica Plastics that basically makes these parts, the 73 specific ones as well, out of fiberglass. So this one is actually for this side, right? So you can see it fits in there. So I am going to basically remove the bumper. It needs to be removed to get these in there, and bolt them up, and then sand the gel coat and try to get a color, close to that green to address this big gaping gap between the bumper and the body. So the bumper fillers are color matched and mounted. The next thing I'm going to do is try to mount the bumper and see if it fits without doing any additional trimming on the outsides of these fillers. So I don't know if you can see this, but you can't really just push the bumper straight on because the little wing part here that kind of sits in the bumper, because these are fiberglass, there's very little give. So it's not like I could bend that over and kind of slide that on. So it's overhanging on both sides. So here's the part now that I've mounted it. There it is. It's a replica piece. I am thrilled with it because there are no alternatives. So if you need bumper fillers for your 73 Monte Carlo, and I know they have the 74s and up and some other of these General Motors cars that had these big Mamma Jamma bumper fillers from the 70s, check out Replica Plastics. So one of the items this car has been missing for as long as I can remember is the centerpiece of the deck lid emblem. So I ended up picking up a used one. So I'm going to swap this over right now. I just popped the old Emblem out by unbolting the little latch that was here so I could get in here, and went in with like a screwdriver on the back of the studs and just hit them lightly, and it popped out, and there's all this nastiness under the Emblem. So I'll clean this all up and install the replacement. Here's the new Emblem all installed. So that's an improvement. Like I mentioned earlier, I got OEM center caps and trim rings. So we're gonna pop these on. They have little spring kind of loaded clips here that grab into these slots. So you wanna make sure they all pop in and get a good grab, or else you'll lose them. Trying to get them to go in evenly, because what I've noticed, if this one's all the way in, this one really doesn't want to, so they get in. So you kind of got to do them evenly so they all grab. There it goes. And then the center cap has little bump outs, and there's corresponding bumps basically where the lug nuts are on the wheel. And then there's also, you see this cutout here, there's a little cutout on the polycast wheel that kind of has to line up with that. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, it really finishes up the look of these Turbine II wheels. So I'm happy with that. So the Monte's coming along. Really just about done. The bumper guards are on. I have the touch-ups that I just did, kind of drying on that. Polished out the front bumper, installed the trim rings and center caps, reinstalled the stainless rocker trim up and down the whole car. What else? We're getting there. Really just needs to be washed and have the paint done one more time, like a nice like paint correction done and paint chips filled. But all the stainless and all the chrome's been polished. It's looking good. But one thing I just noticed, even though I haven't been around this car forever, is it has these mud guards or splash guards, mud flaps, whatever you want to call them. And these were, these are classic 70s mud flaps, right? Like aftermarket accessory. So the top half is stainless, which I polished out, and the bottom half is white, that white rubber. I will clean these. But one thing I never noticed about this car is the front mud flaps are these black ones. And actually, you can tell they said like Chevrolet on them. And that's kind of goofy to me that it has two different style mud flaps. But check this out. These are in the package, never installed. Same as the ones that were on the back. Found these on eBay. So they're Grabowski or Grabowski style splash guards. So they're stainless with the white rubber bottoms. All right, just like that guy. So I'll clean those so they match these and install these on the front. cool is that? Clean them up, but yeah. So now it's a vintage, you know, accessory that matches the ones on the back. I'll do the other side. So in addition to the period correct mud flaps, splash guards, the car has, you know, again, has sheepskin seat covers that were popular in the 70s. One thing that the car had when I picked it up was, and I removed it because it was gross, is it had one of those lace-on steering wheel covers. So I am going to reinstall one. One, because it had it, right? And two, these old cars, and you know, my Mustang has the same thing, the Cougar. These old steering wheels are just so thin that, like, by today's standards, like when you drive current cars and then get into something like this, it just feels weird, right? That they're just so thin and hard. So the wrap, I'm thinking, will kind of, one, put it to how it was, and then two, kind of just make it feel more like a, for lack of a better term, more like a modern car. So I have one of these inexpensive sport grip lace-on steering wheel covers. It's in black. I was trying to get the smaller size. So the way they size these is by the grip circumference. So it's the circumference around the wheel here. And the smaller size is 3 1/4. This particular one's a 3 1/2. But I could not find them in stock anywhere. Online, anywhere. So I'm going to install this one, and basically the extra 1/4 inch really shouldn't matter because you just overlap it anyway on the inside here. So these are pretty straightforward. So really what we're going to do is we're going to take the seam. The seam is going to be the bottom center of the wheel. And we're going to really stretch this over the wheel and just get it kind of on, and then we'll worry about centering it. But there it goes on this side and there. Okay. So now we have to center it. So we want the wheel kind of in the center of the cover. Okay, good, good, looking pretty good. So now we're going to lace it. So here's the lace that was attached. There's one end that kind of slides under it that I just pulled out. So now this is ready to unravel. The lacing is not round, it's flattened. So what you want to do is you don't want to twist it. You want it to lay nice and flat as we go around, okay? Now, if you look at the cover, there's these sets of perforated holes that actually they form lines at a particular angle, right? And in between, there's solid sections. We want to lace in those solid sections right down the center of them to create a nice uniform pattern. So we also want to use the angle of those perforated lines. So if you look, these go this way. So here will be the first one. Will be right here, right? We want to overlap the front over the back. Okay, that one's good. All right, and there's nothing, this is all, you make a mistake, just unwind it and start over again. Because it's not like there's any glue, it's not like there's any, you know, you don't create any damage. So you could really, depending on how picky you are, you could really spend a lot of time perfecting this. Good. Looks right there, the spacing, but we'll play with it as we adjust and make tweaks, okay? So, very nice wrap there. Again, I'm trying to split the spaces between the perforated lines. And if I do that, I should get nice spacing on my lacing. Process for how to basically tie up. So here's a closer look of what I've been doing. So as you can see, I've wrapped the lacing and I've tried to center the lacing between the sets of perforated holes every time. So this is the solid section right here. The lacing is kind of in the center of it, center, and it should kind of create an even spacing, the same kind of angle on each one, and kind of create like a uniform look. One of the other things, the little reverse light lenses are all beat up. So I actually have an expensive replacement set. So I'm gonna slap those on right now. Here's a good comparison. So here's what was on there. All damaged, but you see how dingy they are. Here are the replacements, which look pretty good. They only go in one way. There's definitely a top versus a bottom to match the taper of the bumper. So once I get the second one in, I'm actually gonna hit the bumper and try to remove with like a chrome polish. Try to remove some of this hazing and some of this surface rust. Now I'm gonna get some chrome polish and hit all this and try to clean up under here because I like the tarnishing of where the gas filler is. The other thing I'm gonna do is polish out all this stainless rocker trim. I removed the front pieces to do them on the bench, but I'm gonna try to do them either on the car or take them off. In here is this like little satin black stripe in it, so I may actually repaint that too once I'm done. But yeah, I'm gonna polish all this the stainless wheel well trim as well, and do that all the way around the car just to brighten everything up. So polished out all the stainless trim. There's a little haze on this one, which I'll hit again, but you can see how nice that all came out. I got to repaint the black inside of this one. But I polished everything up, came out pretty decent. I wish I got a before video of the wheel well trim, because this was literally brown from here to here with like surface rust and nastiness. And it came out like, it all looks really good, or at least decent. The bumpers, this all had surface rust underneath here. It's all gone, came out pretty good. You know, there's still some rust spots, some pitting on the bumpers and even on the trim, but otherwise it came out a lot nicer than I thought it would. I'm gonna treat, looks like there was some like Bondo here at some point. I'm gonna clean all this off, treat it with like POR 15, even underneath these pieces if where need be. Just again, to kind of preserve everything and just put this in a state where, you know, it could sit and not continue to rot. So I painted in the stripe. This one I did while I was on the car. So, stripe is painted in. Just look happy with that. So the last thing I'm gonna do is kind of like a paint correction on it. I did this once, like light, when I first got it out of storage. I washed it. But if you look, you know, you can see the swirls and the hazing in the paint. You can see nasty like watermarks that are in the paint. I mean, you could just hear. You can hear my fingers running over it, how rough it feels or dry it feels. So I'm gonna do I'm just gonna do a compound and a polish. I will also do some wet sanding to take out scratches like that. This car was repainted, and the paint I think that was done is pretty thick. So you see there's like all these little marks here. So I think I'm gonna do like I said, a light wet sand, then compound, and then polish, and see what we got from there. So here's the roof, and again, you can see all the marks, the water marks. I'm gonna go in with a 3000 grit pad I have for the wet sanding. And if any of the areas are a little rougher, I might actually go all the way down to like a 1000, 2000, then hit it with the 3000, and then compound and polish. So the paint is responding nicely to the compounding and the buffing. I got more work to do, but there was so this whole edge here had a whole bunch of scratches on it, and they're all gone. So I'm happy with that. There was a lot of scratches in the top here. Most of them are gone. There's still a little bit here and there, but there was a really nasty scuff right here. That's completely gone. So I'm just gonna keep at it and keep knocking it down. There was these like see these little bumps in the paint? This is from the respray back in the day. I may take like a little block and actually wet sand these, knock these all right off. I did that on the hood. But I mean, the paint is like glass right now. I just need to get rid of a little more of the haze, do a little more polishing. You can see I let a whole bunch of polish get in between, so I'll clean that all out. But yeah, it's coming out great. It needs work. I mean, it's going to take a little more time, but I think I'll be able to definitely brighten up the paint and, you know, freshen it up. You can see the other side of the deck lid. You can see a lot of the scratching and the hazing and the checking in the paint. And then this side, it's definitely much better. But I'm just gonna keep at it, which is somewhat boring, but oh yeah, I'll knock this all out. So it is late now in my shop, and after a lot of elbow grease, the Monte's done, ready to go home. I brightened up the paint with it responded well to the wet sand and compound and polish. Did all the chrome, as you saw. Did some, you know, major details like the bumper fillers and the emblems and stuff like that. The Turbine II wheels with center caps and trim rings. But she's ready to go. It's kind of cool just seeing it all done and all shiny and all nice. Next step for this thing will be to go home. Again, here's the paint. Here's the paint. And I did the kind of period correct accessories that it had. So it's got that 70s splash guards. It's got the wrapped wheel now, and it still has the sheepskin seat covers. But the interior is all cleaned up and detailed. So that's it. there she is. I conditioned all the rubber, all the trim, conditioned the top. So it's time for it to go home. So tomorrow I'm just going to drive it around, make sure there's no, surprises. I have been driving it since I did all the mechanical stuff, so I don't anticipate any issues. But other than that, it's this weekend, this coming weekend, it's going home, and we'll see how well it is received. If you have any questions or comments, comment below. I'd appreciate if you like this video. And there really is just going to be one more video in this Monte Carlo series. If you want to go back, I did a recap of this particular car and how it basically came to me. I did a full detail of the bottom of the undercarriage. I did a topside, basically engine bay, quick little detail, and did some basic maintenance items, and then kind of freshened up the exterior, which is what you're looking at now. So yeah, the last video is going to be this thing going home. That's really it. Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I'd really appreciate if you like this video, and even better if you subscribe to this particular channel. Thank you very much.